Hello, hi you guys. This is Donna Chain. Welcome to my channel, aka Dinosaur. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm sorry, you can see my kid and my background, the song, a lot of distractions. So I'm really sorry about that. And I'm gonna be really sorry if I speak too fast because I'm trying to make sure that my video is not too long. So I apologize for that, and also for looking at my camera. Like I look at myself in the camera and looking at the real camera, so it's like throwing me off. I'm not used to making a lot of videos, so yeah. And of course I look like crap. If you have kids, you know what I mean. So I'm not trying to look nice for everybody. I'm just trying to tell people my journey. So yeah, I look like crap, so oh well. Anyways, this video is going to be focusing on how did I get my PCT job without no experience. So yes. But I think a lot of things that helps was because I got referred. So referred from somebody. So that's probably what it was that helped me a lot. Anyways, so with that being said, let's take us back to a month ago. I had applied for this other place. It's a bank job, and I got rejected. I know I was really upset. I think because my talent and my skills didn't meet to their expectations. So I guess that wasn't it for me. Oh my god. But anyways, you know, I always tell myself maybe it wasn't meant to be. Maybe it wasn't meant to be, and why, you know, probably why I got this job right now. Maybe I just thought maybe God has a better plan for me. And yes, I know I'm not a Christian, but I just thought maybe God has a better plan for me, and that things turn out the way it is. So yeah, like, so take us back. So my husband had a cousin, and his cousin's wife, she's an RN, so she worked at the hospital that I just got accepted to. And so I remember I messaged her on Facebook and asked her, you know, you see there's any job position opening. So originally I wanted a receptionist job, but you know, so I had a history where I went to school for medical assisting and got a certification for that, but it wasn't really what I expected, so that's why I didn't find a job. But that'll probably be for another video. So not this video, because this video is focusing on something else. And so and I have been working in a manufacturer or company job for 5 years, and I thought that, you know, I want to do something. I want to get back into medical field, in a medical setting. You know, I just missed that, you know, working in the medical field, being able to help people, being able to talk to people, because, you know, I'm a really bubbly person. I really talkative. I guess I'm really like being too overly excited or extroverted person. So yeah. So I was like, you know, and then I asked her, and she like asked her if there's a receptionist job, just because I know that I didn't really have any experience and within those gap of years. So I asked her, I was like, is there any receptionist job opening? She's like, yeah, there's multiples. Are you looking for days, nights, or whatever? And then I told her it doesn't matter, but for me, I personally like night shift better, just because it's been working out for me way better. I've been doing night shift the whole time, so yeah. And then we were talking, and she's like, you know what, there's some position open for patient care tag. For that you get paid more and you get training without the experience. And I'm like, oh really? I didn't even know what patient care tag is. I guess it's the same thing as CNA, but I really don't know. So I'm like, okay, sure, yeah, you know, what do you do? She's like, look, you gotta wipe butt. But she said with an A word, she's like, you gotta wipe the, you know, whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I was like, oh, I think that's probably more like me, you know, like I don't mind it, because I don't mind helping people. Like, you know, that's just my thing. Like, I don't mind talking to people. I don't mind helping people. Like, I just people's person, I guess. So I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You know, like what are the duties and this and that. She kind of went over it with me. I'm like, okay, so how did I get, you know, be able to get the job and apply for it? And she's like, if you're interested, you'll just let my manager know and talk to her and see what's gonna happen. And then she asked me, she's like, how is your attendance and everything? And I'm like, girl, you don't even have to worry about attendance, for me, like when I come to work, I work and you don't have to worry about that. She's like, I was just wondering because the person that I referred last time, I guess that person went through the whole process, but then during orientation, maybe she or he backed out. So I think she was kind of a little nervous. So I'm like, you don't have to worry, girl. I'm like, me, I'm really motivated to go back to work in a hospital setting. So yeah, don't worry about me. And she's like, okay. And then she gave me her manager's phone, and I talked to her manager, and then apparently she wanted me to go, the girl that referred me wanted me to go work with her night shift on the weekend, but apparently the manager said that the weekend shift is full, so there's only day shift and night shift for the PCT position. So I'm like, okay, I'll take the PCT position for night shift. And then I want to apply for that. And then she's like, okay, so since you're done applying for that, then I'll let my recruiter know, and then she'll get back to you. And I'm like, okay, sure. And then, Lord, tell me why when you have to wait for somebody to call you, they don't call you. But then when you're busy and doing something else, oh, let me put my music low. When you're busy and all of a sudden they call you. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So she called me, but I didn't get to answer her. But then I called her back. And then the recruiter girl, the recruiter lady, I'm sorry, I keep having all these objects in my hand. She was like, she's very cool. She's very nice, actually. I think she's better than the girl that I went to apply, interview for the other job. Like, she was like asking me another question. Well, originally we were supposed to talk for 15 minutes, but I think I talk too much. So I think we talked more than 15 minutes. So she was just telling me, the position and the duties and everything, saying that it will be 3 days. You work 3 days for 12 hours, and then you get 4 days off. And then she also mentioned something about, if I will be working a weekend, like rotation. I'm like, I wasn't aware of that, but I would be, it has to be a night shift. And she's like, yeah, but you probably have to mention that to your manager and make sure that, whatever it is correct, because I don't want to give you false information. I'm like, yeah, sure, it's cool. But knowing that I didn't have no experience, so I'm like, oh, thank God, like, for this opportunity. And then she's like, well, I'll go ahead and set you for your interview. So mind that it happened, she called me on a Thursday. And then so she's like, well, did you want to go and interview tomorrow for a Friday? And I'm like, thinking in my mind, I'm like, no, because I'm not ready. So I'm like, can I do it next week instead? And she's like, yeah, I can schedule you for next week, Tuesday, which is this past Tuesday. I'm like, oh, thank God, thank Lord, because I need to be prepared myself, and all that kind of stuff. And then after she scheduled, and then, oh my gosh, I was just practicing my interview. Woke up on bed, practiced right away, brushing my teeth, practice, taking a shower, practice my interview. I think I just going overboard, like just preparing myself. But I'd rather be safe than being sorry. So when the day came, she told me where to go park, and I'm like, nah, I'll just go park in the visitor area because I'm not about to get lost. But before that, my husband always do everything with me. So him and I go and look at the location and see where I need to go park at, because I don't want to be looking like lunatics the next day, like, going around, don't know where I'm going, be late for my interview. So I just, so the next day I went there. I didn't have my piercing, anything. I took them off, wear my professional clothes. It was funny because my husband's grandma got admitted to the hospital a couple days before I even applied there. So I'm like, this is such a coincidence. I don't know if it was a bad sign or anything, but yeah. So I already knew that when we go there, then I'm gonna have to park on the visitor side because I'm not trying to get lost. So I went there, and then I went into the hospital. So I'm not gonna tell you guys where the hospital is gonna be at, but or what it is. But I went inside the hospital, and oh my lord, when I got in there, it's like in a movie where, I mean, I wouldn't say it's that bad, but when you go in there, like everything is like all over the place. I wouldn't say it's all over the place, but you see like people like so busy, like, you know, going from one end to one end and walking everywhere. And I'm like, wow, interesting. But I wasn't scared. I was like, wow, this is a fast-paced place. And I'm like, interesting. Well, okay, I'm gonna go to the receptionist. And I went to the receptionist, and the girl that referred me, her older sister, she is a receptionist. So, oh, thank God, that made me feel better seeing somebody I know. And then I felt a lot better with the interview. So, you know, knowing me, when I used to go to school for medical assisting, and they used to train us before we go on an interview or etc. They would tell us that we had to be professional no matter what when we go to an interview. And so I always had that mentality in my mind that when I go to an interview, I have to be professional all the time, and I can't be off character. And that's the last thing I want, even though I really want to, but yeah, you can't have that. But when I saw her, and I was like, oh my gosh, and the bee was talking, and then she was like, it was funny because I was like, oh girl, I'm trying to be professional here because I don't want people like seeing me, you know, and they'll report to your manager, and then something goes off and whatever, blah blah blah. But we were just talking, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back and sit down because I'm not trying to get in trouble. So when I came back and sit down, being really professional about it, you know, I just look around. I wasn't being on my phone because that's the last thing you want. You don't want to be on your phone. So I was just looking around and seeing, you know, what the patient or what the RNs or patient care tech or anybody was doing. Just kind of observe so that you get an idea of, you know, the environment and everything in the work area, which was pretty okay. And then I went there pretty early. So I went there like maybe 30 minutes before my interview time. So the lady came. She's like, wow, you were early. The lady that interviewed me. I was like, yeah, I know. I came early. And she's like, okay. And so I follow her to her room. And then, oh my lord. Oh my goodness. This is so crazy. But I feel like she only asked me 2 questions throughout the whole interview. Because I feel like, I think she's so busy. She's so busy that I feel like she just want to hurry up with the interview. And not only that, like she had other applicants too. So I'm not the only person that she has to interview. So there's other people. And so I think that's why she's so busy and that she had to hurry up and do her interview. So I remember the only question that she asked me was that, tell me about yourself. And I explained to her, you know, that stuff about myself. And then I think she asked me, what do you know about the hospital and this and that, and I told her. And then I think after that, she's like, well, do you have no question for me? And I'm like, what, is the interview over? But I didn't want to ask her that, you know. My mind was still completely like blanked, and I was like still shocked because I didn't know what to think. At the same time, like I want to answer, but at the same time, like I was kind of shocked, and at the same time I'm like, I don't know what to say. So I'm thinking like, what? I was still processing everything. I'm like, dude, this is going by so fast. Am I doing something wrong? Is that why the interview ends so fast? But, you know, to me, I thought the interview went pretty well. Just because I feel like when we was talking to each other, I feel like I genuinely care about the job and that I want to work there, and that you know, just being able to connect to things. And when she educated me on the stuff, and even though she said it's a high demand place, even though she educated me and all that kind of stuff, when I was listening to her, like, oh my god, I felt like a little puppy. I was just like, like listening to her, just like a little lost puppy. Oh, I wasn't lost, but like I was just interested. And so maybe she probably knew that I genuinely care about the position. I don't know. And so when we were done, I got to ask her my questions, and then when we were done, she's like, okay, so, you know, I'll let the recruiter know, and she'll let you know by the end of today, and if not by the end of today, maybe tomorrow, and she'll give you an answer, to see if, you know, we'll be move on forward with you or not, because I have other applicants as well. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, this is it. This is it for me, you know. But I was like, okay, enough with the dramatic. I gotta be cool. So got home 3 hours later. Like I mentioned before, and I was waiting, and there was no call. But as soon as I want to do something, and she gave me a call back. So, but I missed the call again, and then she left me a message saying that great news. I'll call you back again tomorrow. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I get accepted? And then so I call her back. She's like, yeah, great news. You got accepted. She's will be looking forward to move on with you with the, this and that. I'm like, oh my goodness, I was so happy. Y'all, I was so happy. I was like excited, jumping up and down. So I'm like, she's like, well, the interview went pretty well. She said the interview went pretty good with you, and that she felt pretty she felt like there was a positive vibe from you, knowing that maybe like you're the applicant that she wanted. And so I want to know, how did the interview went for you? And I'm like, oh my gosh, the interview went so fast that maybe it's only like 15 minutes, and I felt like I didn't know it was a good thing or a bad thing. And I told her that I was laughing. I said, I didn't know it was a good thing or a bad thing. I was really nervous because it went by so fast. And I think she was pretty shook too. She was like, wow, really? So, but then I was like, yeah. And then after that, she congratulated me, and then she gave me an offer. My dumbass, I should have offered, maybe negotiate a little higher, but knowing that maybe that's probably the only maximum offer that they probably give. So I'm like, okay, I guess it's fine. So I decided to accept the offer. And then after she went through everything with me, and I asked her when is orientation and everything, and she said orientation will be a couple weeks from now, but I will have to go on day shift for 2 weeks, and after that then I'll transition to night shift. But then I don't know if she have all the answers that I needed, so I need to ask the HR again to see what the hour is going to be like for me. And so I had to wait a couple weeks from now for orientation. And I'm like, oh my god. Oh, and I forgot to mention that before I went to the interview, like the day before I went to the interview, girl, boy, I light up an incense. And I'm being Asian, so I light up an incense, like, and I'm just praying, and I'm just telling my daddy to help me see if I can get a job. And the same thing went after the interview. I did the same thing, burn the incense, and hopefully my daddy will help me get a job. But I don't know, that was a coincidence or something, but I got a job. And then she told me that the recruiter lady told me that HR will reach out to me, and then HR will have a lot of things for me to sign, and that's what happened. So HR reached out to me, and I had to go on my Gmail and fill out a whole bunch of like papers, or in the computer. So I just finally got that done today, and then tomorrow the only thing left is just doing drug screen, and doing physical tests, where I will have to go and test to see if I'm able to like push stuff, pull stuff, or stand, or etc. So I'm like, oh, so excited. But at the same time, I'm super excited for this new journey. But at the same time, I'm actually kind of scared and nervous too, because I don't want to be so overly excited that what if like when I start working there and like 2 weeks later, and I'm like, this is not what I want, this is totally different, what am I getting myself into? It's that feeling where I don't want to be too excited, because that can happen to me. But yeah, so I think from now until orientation, what I will be doing is I'll probably be looking for more stuff, like looking at more YouTubers videos on what did they do as a PCT, and for me, I probably learn more about it. Just being able to prepare myself for that day, because I don't want to be going to orientation and then not knowing what I'm going to be learning, and I'll be looking like a fool there. And that's the last thing I want people to think of me. Everybody can be smart their own way, but you go there, you don't know anything. You know, people's probably gonna say something about you, and I don't want that to happen to me. So I want to prepare myself as much as I can. So trying to study like PCT job, see what they do, so that, you know, when I go there, I don't feel so bad, or I don't feel left out. So I think that's my plan for now until then. And then I think that maybe after a month or so working there, I'll probably give you guys another I'll do another video to update you guys and see how things went as a PCT, and see if I like it or not. So yeah, I mean, if you guys have any other like questions or anything you guys want me to help you guys with, just feel free to let me know in my description box below, or in the comments, in the description box, in the comments, and then I'll be gladly trying to help you guys with the best of my knowledge. So yeah, till next time, I'll see you guys. Oh my god, you see my son. What is he doing? He's eating stuff. But okay, I gotta go take care of my son, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.